has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
It's pain-free Friday. Ferrall's going out minutes on the mahogany, waxing it up. 100, 200, the bad, say the broke, day the bad, apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City. Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake-it-up, shadooby, along with the Tutty and Tater King himself, the golf guru, getting ready for the Cape Cod Open next week. Carver High this afternoon. Mafia running it with Luke. I am your father. The rundown on this C2C. We got a double shot with Morency from Vancouver this very hour. Plus, it's me, Gino B. Gino Bacola from the Daily Racing Form will join us. Second hour, Coach Terry Bowden breaking down college football for the weekend. And Dr. Shivago, Dr. David Chow from SIC in San Diego, so Cali Cal, plus Mafia in the final hour, talking about a PFL pay-per-view that's going on this weekend. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about this. We got it all going. I got to tell you, Carver High, last night was just the absolute worst thing I think I've ever seen. I mean, I'd say the only thing that could come close, it wasn't the 0-4, losing 4 in a row to the Red Sox. It wasn't on that level.
No.
But, blowing that game, when Judge hit that mammoth 2-run, game-tying home run, and then Stanton followed with a blast to right center to take the lead, and then to add a run in the ninth, Labor Day, and then to give up a 2-run, 2-out blast to pinch hitter Big Christmas. Noel, you've got to be kidding me. He's a hack. And then I knew right then and there. I said, the language coming out of me, it was just horrific. I was scaring people. The dog hid under a table. It was over. I knew they were going to lose. When they blew it, this is the old, once you're lapped, once you're passed, it's over, you're done. Once they catch you, it's over, you're done. Put a fork in him. Sure enough, David fried chicken with the 2-run walk-off blast to left field, and the Guardians win the game, and instead of 3-0, suddenly it's 2-1 going into tonight's game just past 8 o'clock at Progressive.
Indeed it is. Happy Friday to you here on C2C, Scotty. Good to see you. Look, I get it. It was a tough loss to take. It's a gut punch. When you get that kind of an effort, you get those homers from Judge and Stanton, you expect to be able to finish the job and go up 3-0. A couple things I'll say. The loss sucks. But they still have to win 3 more games. That's the one thing that I could just take out of him and be like, listen, I know everybody loves momentum change. The Guardian do this. I mean, that all can go to the wayside very quickly if Louis Hill comes out and throws a bunch of zeros right out of the gate. It's just – and Gavin Williams is pitching for the Cleveland tonight. The Yankees should hit Gavin Williams. That's how you change what happened last night. And you quickly turn the corner and you make it 3-1. If that was an elimination game, yeah, we probably wouldn't want to talk for a week and a half, 2 weeks. We wouldn't want to be near anybody with that kind of a loss. But because it's game 3 and because they still lead the series 2-1, I'm not as end of the world type of stuff about it. I do believe that they're still going to win this series. I do believe there's still a chance they could win today and tomorrow in Cleveland. And be done in 5. I still think that that's very possible as well. Here's the thing that bothered me, and I said it to you yesterday. There was no reason whatsoever in Game 2 the other night to put Weaver out there for more than an inning when he had already pitched the end of every game, multiple innings, and they were up. What were they up, 6-2 the other night at home in that game? They would be after the Judge homer. There was no reason that you needed Weaver in that game. And then to go to him, like, you knew that if you kept, like, it was a great story, and it still is. I'm sure the kid's going to go out there if they have a lead again tonight. But you knew you were playing with fire every game, putting him out there for more than 3 outs. Eventually, someone was going to get him.
Well, not only the Dreamweaver, but then Holmes came in and gave up the game winner, and he's just constantly blowing games. This guy is bad luck when it comes to finishing off a game. I like him in the setup role. I hate him in the closer role, and that is built over a year. I mean, he used to be a closer, and he is turned into bad luck. He's the Black Cloud Diner. I mean, this guy, Fry, it's the second big home run. He hit one in the division series to, shake Detroit. And then he hits this one against the Yankees. And now suddenly they got a series on their hands. I think, tonight is huge. And we don't know what Heel's going to give him. And we don't know. I notice other guys' numbers are terrible. But I don't think that's their plan. I think their plan is to, if he gets in any kind of hot water, they're just going to hook him and then go right to the bullpen and use every arm they got, but who knows?
But they've been using every arm they've got every night.
Already.
They've been using every arm they've got. Like, just like we just said out Weaver, the Yankees have been running him out there every night. Eventually, like, every arm they've got, when do they get a little chink in the armor? Now, Clase hadn't been used at all, and that was pretty astonishing that he came in and couldn't get the job done against Judge and against Stanton. I'm glad he did because I'm tired of hearing about Clase, but still, you can't expect that every time he goes out there. I think that they got to just pound this guy Williams early. They get a couple runs tonight. That changes the mojo from last night. You go up 3-1, win tonight, and it washes away last night. It's a blip on the radar on what's hopefully going to be on you. That's their moment. They got one moment out of this series, and hopefully it's last night, and that's all they're going to get.
Well, look,
the Yankees have to make sure of that.
I've never seen, anything that incredible happen and then get wasted. The Judge Stanton back-to-backs was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, and then to have it all go down the toilet, it doesn't matter. They lost the game, so they hit those home runs, and it doesn't matter. It's like you score 50 in a game and you lose. No one cares that you had 50. You lose. So none of it stands up and holds water. So, and then the other one, I got to say that, in my opinion, the Mets are cooked. I mean, they have been outscored 30-9. They're getting pounded and they're getting humiliated. And it's obvious that the Dodgers are going to the World Series. This series, it would appear to me, will be over tonight.
Yeah, look, I don't think that there's a question now of who's going to win that series. I think the question today is, do the Mets have a little fire to take another plane ride to L.A. And win this game today? I don't think that they're winning 3 in a row. I don't think they're going to win. I think they got to get through tonight. I like that they're going Peterson because I think that Senga is just too much of a wild card considering what happened in game number 1. And Flaherty mowed him down in game 1. I like that Roberts is going for it tonight. Bang, getting Flaherty right back out there, finish the job, and let's end this thing tonight. And they're going to be starting while we're on 5 o'clock East at Citi Field. Dodgers and the Mets, game number 5 in the NLCS. Yankees-Cleveland's the late game tonight. They're the 8 o'clock start.
Did you think
they're at Progressive, yes.
when Ohtani led off first swing home run, the game was over right there.
Big for me.
Honestly,
it was a big home run for me.
It's over right now.
I thought when Ohtani homered, right? But you know what? Vientos countered in the bottom of the first.
I didn't care.
But, yeah, and man, enough. How about can we stop with Ohtani with the bases empty now, or bases full, bases empty? Guy was on base every night. But Muncy was on base 12 times in a row. It's finished. It's over.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 East, 7 West, along all of our outlets, TV stations, streaming networks, radio stations, satellite radio, channel 159 on Sirius XM. You can catch Gabe with us on Coast to Coast every day with a double shot from Vancouver's Dodgers have been humiliating the Mets at Citi Field. They're destroying them. The first two games were it just got worse. It just keeps getting worse. It's got to be over today. They just have to finish him off because they've already stabbed him in the chest 30 times, 30-9 in runs scored. I mean, they look, the place is ice cold. It's like a morgue. There's no anything. They're finished.
I don't use the word bludgeoning a lot, Scott, but that's what I think is appropriate for this. And with it being Halloween coming up, and all month, I really enjoy October, Scott, and the horror movies that are on TV all the time. And I've watched them all over and over. And one thing that, a lesson to be learned from these movies is you've got to kill Jason or Freddy when you get the chance to, you know what I mean? Or Michael Myers. No, and it's not enough, right? I've seen these movies and, he stalks them, for 2 hours. And he gets hit by lightning and he gets electrocuted. Oh, it's all over now. It's never over. So if you're the Dodgers, keep on bludgeoning. Come out strong once again and finish them off. Don't give the Mets any life. Things can flip on a dime, Scott, in playoff series. We've seen it before. Massive game tonight, obviously, for the Yankees and the Guardians. Guardians win today. Suddenly, we've got a series. And all the pressure is on New York. Nobody expects Cleveland to win. Nobody thought Cleveland's going to win. Nobody's getting fired in Cleveland if they lose. Can't say the same thing about New York, right? So the pressure, it can change in a hurry. You're the guy until you're not the guy, right? As we know in this world. So the Dodgers need to keep it going. But, Scott, it's as a Dodger fan, it's a work of perfection what they're doing right now. I mean, 48 out of 51 innings scoreless, holding opponents. Like they gave up two innings in like 2 runs, basically, and two innings. They got beat up once by San Diego in 1 inning and the Mets in 1 inning. The Dodgers historically, as far as them taking pitches and working the count, are moving into historic numbers right now. Kike Hernandez, we talked about his playoff magic. Edman's been unbelievable, Scott. The
You can't even
pitchers have
watch
been
the
great.
games, they're so bad. I mean, they're kicking their ass so bad that you can't even watch.
It's almost, you're right. The Dodgers are almost like one of those college football teams that nobody ever talks about when you're the best. It's like, whatever, dude. They win by 50 every week. Nobody wants to watch them. Nobody cares.
No,
right? It's one of those type of deals.
I can't even watch. The game's over in 5 minutes, and I'm like, God, there's got to be something better than this on. Like, honestly, like today at 5 o'clock, I already know what's going to happen. If I were Peterson, I'd cable in my pants seeing Ohtani walk up to the plate. The guy's raking home runs every game now. It's over.
Betts is smoking hot right now. Freeman is back today. That's how hot the Dodgers are. It's like a regular season for them, Scott. They're like, well, we're playing a day game tomorrow, evening game. Let's rest Freddie today. Even though it's the playoffs. I know he's injured and he's beat up, but if they were down, he would have played. And it doesn't matter. Dude, Edman was hitting ninth the entire playoffs, Scott. They put him into cleanup hole last night. It's like they're playing fantasy baseball now and just scratching out the lineups, laughing it up.
Did you see Nimmo? He can't even run. He's got plantar fascia in both feet. He can't even run, but they got him out there. He looks worthless to me. The guy, he looks like a cripple.
Even the Met players, as you talked about, Grimace and the Met fans were pretty beaten down and dejected.
Grimace is drunk at the subway station. He's passed out by a
The
garbage
Dodgers
can.
have stole their soul, like type of deal. And the Mets last night, I think it might have been Winker or it might have been Nimmo, actually, who said, well, it'll be a hell of a story if we're able to pull this off. It wasn't like, oh, no, there's a lot of baseball left. Like, he even like kind of admitted, like, this is overwhelming, but hey, it'd be a heck of a story if we can come back. It's not like, hey, we're not out of it and like that edge. I think the Mets, I told you yesterday, I'm telling you, I saw the look in the Mets dugout the other night, in which it's almost like you're a UFC fighter and the other dude's just taking you down and elbowing you and grounding and pounding, and you can't stop it. And there's nothing you can do about it. And sort of like a football team when the other team's running the ball down their throat and everybody on defense just looks like they start tapping out. The Dodgers have the Mets on the ropes, but early runs are massive once again. Dude, and the crazy thing is, Scott, you mentioned Peterson. Dude, the Dodgers light Peterson up, bro. Like, you go down the lineup, everybody does. The Dodgers are hitting like 375 against this guy. So, and he's only going to last a couple innings to begin with.
Tom Seaver.
Doc Gooden. I think Doc Gooden's in the building. So we'll see what happens, Scott. But I do think the Dodgers finish them off today. I think the Dodgers, and they know they want to get some rest. This Cleveland probably is going to win, Scott, one of the two games today or tomorrow. Right, so if the Yankees win today and win tomorrow, the World Series will start Tuesday. I think the Guardians will be able to get one of them. So I think they're going to get. I think they get it today. To be honest, I think we're going to be tied at 2. So they get another one. Then suddenly the World Series starts Friday, and the Dodgers can really just sort of reset the rotation. Although I don't know, they're so hot, maybe they want to keep playing. But
honestly, so I watched the game last night, right? Both games, but when the Yankee game. Honestly, I have to tell you, it ruined my life. It ruined my day. I went and played basketball this morning at 6 a.m. and I didn't even sweat. And the guy's like, I didn't even run. I didn't even try. And the guy's like, "What's wrong with you? Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I'm bummed out. Like, it bummed me out. Like, those home runs were so clutch, and then to lose that game with those 2 home runs off of Weaver and Holmes. Like, honestly, I was like, oh, Christ, here we go. Because they're going to win again, and it's going to be 2-2. And, you should have been up 3-0. When you're down 3-1 and hit back-to-back Judge and Stan home runs to take the lead, and then you add an insurance one, and you still effing lose the game, you never live that down. Ever.
Today, you could argue today is the series. Like we said, if Cleveland wins today, there's no guarantee they're going to win the series, but as I said a couple of minutes ago, Scott, all the pressure's on the Yankees.
I know you're rooting for him, too. You're rooting for Cleveland, and he's rooting for the Dodgers, and you're a backstabber. You're a backstabber,
not really.
Morency.
The Guardians would be tough.
Fooling me. Screw you.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
So Morency will be on Sunday night doing the Jets-Steeler game from Pittsburgh on the grid. And obviously they're going to start Russell Wilson. What do you think is going to happen in that game? That's going to be a good game that you're going to be on.
You know, all I keep hearing is you can't question Mike Tomlin, and because of all of his success, I'm going to question Mike Tomlin here. I don't know what the hell they're doing and going to Russell Wilson. I understand it's a good problem to have if you're winning football games and you have two quarterbacks. I get it in the sense that they paid Russell Wilson a ton of money. Tomlin was the one that wanted him in the first place. He was the one. It wasn't the owners that went to him or the GM. Like, Tomlin was the one that said, let's bring Russell Wilson in. And he was injured, so he never got his shot. I get it. But, you know, you're 4-2. You're winning games. The Jets' defense is very good. Wilson hasn't played a football game in about a year right now. And you're dropping him on the football field against a lethal defense, against a desperate football team. I don't like the move, Scott. I thought Fields was doing enough. I knew that Fields wasn't perfectly. You're the Steeler fan. I don't know how you feel about it, but I get it from the business perspective. And we got to understand, man, the NFL is a business. And they paid him, and they picked up Fields off the scrap heap. And I love how Fields has handled it. And when you said, well, if I played better, this wouldn't be happening. I'm not so sure, kid. Maybe if you were 6-0, you know, they wouldn't have done this, but you were 5-1. They had their mind made up because of all the money that they paid Russell Wilson. And they're just not, you know what I mean? They're not going to let him stay on the bench. And if you're Fields, you did have a nice little audition here, right? Tomlin gave you a shot. Nobody wanted Fields. Like, he was on the market forever. And I don't know why, personally, what people have against this kid. I think he's pretty good, Scott. I think he just needs reps. You get him out there with a good football team. He was winning games. He was doing enough. He wasn't costing the Steelers games. We'll put it that way. And I think at this stage, I don't have a lot of confidence in Russell Wilson, to be honest.
So they're going to have no breakaway from the pocket at all. When he's in trouble, he's getting sacked.
He's going to blow up. Yep.
And
exactly.
when Fields has it, he breaks out and runs for 12 yards and slings it to Pickens.
And let me say this to you, Scott.
He gets it done.
And you'll agree with this, I'm sure, too. So, and you know this. So Fields, his one problem is he doesn't read the defense fast enough on the first read. So he snaps the ball, boom. You know, the windows are small and tight in the NFL, how long the guy's going to be open for. He was open. By the time Fields sees it, he isn't. So Fields sort of prolongs plays a little bit, but he can because of his athleticism. Scott, Russell Wilson does the same damn thing. Russell Wilson doesn't get rid of the ball quickly. Like, that's why Seattle got better when Geno took over again after, because Geno just gets rid of the ball quickly. Russell, runs around, rolls out, but he's not fast, and he still thinks he can heave it down the field. He hasn't adapted his game. Justin Fields is much more suited for today's NFL. I guarantee you guys, the New York Jets are happy that they're starting Russell Wilson instead of Justin Fields on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. I want to ask you about two other big games in the NFL and then a couple college games. Niners and Chiefs. The Niners are laying 2 at Stonewashed Denim Jeans. And then the Lions game in Minnie. They beat them 3 straight times, Detroit. And Minnesota's laying 1.5 at the bank in Minneapolis.
I'll tell you what, man, Andy Reid, 21-4 off a bye. Unbelievable track record. Patrick Mahomes doesn't lose when games are 3 points or less on one side or the other. Patrick Mahomes famously said after the Super Bowl, we shouldn't be underdogs to anybody, ever. And here they are, underdogs again to the San Francisco 49ers. But with all that being stated, I think it's a good spot for the Niners. The Niners' season isn't on the line, but they need this game a lot more than the Kansas City Chiefs do. I mean, Scott, they're 3-3. They're middling. They're sort of spinning their wheels right now, the Niners, even though they've had a ton of injuries. Now is the time. It's getting real this season. I mean, we're nearly at the halfway point of the season right now, guys. It's time for them to start to dial it up and actually, get into playoffs, win the division. And you're going to have to do it by winning this football game. So I like San Francisco, Scott. I like San Francisco. And listen, you're putting me on the spot with the Minnesota-Detroit game. Fun game to watch. It's like Ali Frazier picking, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, they both could win. I'm going to go with Detroit. I don't like the fact that Minnesota coming off the bye week. You're 5-0. You're red hot. Maybe I think they could cool off a little bit. Give me the Detroit Lions, Scott.
All right, you can get all of Morency's college plays and pro plays on X and on Sports Rage tonight. All right, have a great weekend, Gabe, and call a good one with the Jets. Bring the Steelers home for me.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
this to me, and I'm just really not looking forward to it at all.
Well, I mean, look, we have to be fair, okay?
No, we don't.
I understand that we're rooting for the Yankees, and we want the Yankees to win and all that, and I still think they're going to win. But the bottom line is Cleveland got them last night after the Judge and Stanton home runs in the 8th to put the Yankees up. It looked like you were going to go up 3-0, but not the case. We have both homers in one spot for you here, Scotty. You've got the Christmas Noel shot to tie it off of Weaver in the bottom of the 9th. And then right after that, the Fry walk-off in the bottom of the 10th off of Holmes. Both of these, Brian Anderson on TBS.
Oh my goodness! Big Christmas has tied it! The ultimate present under the tree! Oh my goodness! John Kinsey Noel! The biggest swing of his life! In game 3, Fry, deep drive, left field! Fry's watching! It is a walk-off home run! David Fry lights up the Cleveland night!
Yeah, there you have it. Fantastic. Congratulations. You feel better?
Look, you gotta, and you know what? Anderson's good. You have Darling and Francoeur in there, and they put out these clips today of them in the booth, showing them, sometimes you want. They all hate the Yankees. I know everybody thinks that the national announcers hate their own team, but they root against the Yankees secretly. You know that they do. It happens.
I know Darling does.
You know that Darling does indeed. Here's Fry. I had to give you I saw this clip, and I said, you're going to love this. So Fry went up there in the bottom of the 10th, and like many that we've heard from in the past on Coast to Coast, Fry had a little someone extra with him. We went up there at bat in the bottom of the 10th.
The first, or I guess it was my second at bat off of Weaver, was no good at all. And I was just I just told God, I was like, hey, man, take this. This is a tough matchup. Just try to have fun, and you take the at bat, and got behind in the count, and just got a pitch up in the zone, and luckily it went out.
He did it. He hit one out. Last night it was him.
Let me get this straight. So what you're telling me is that not only did God hit the game-winning home run, that God roots for the Cleveland Guardians and not the 27-time world champion New York Yankees, that God is actually, through all of this, all these years, it's been Cleveland, God's fascination with baseball, is what you're telling me. That's what he said. He said God hit the home run.
He let him take the at-bat. You take this one.
I never knew.
You take this one.
I never knew. Did the other guy say Jesus was in on his?
Well, look, I think that God only got involved once they changed their name to the Guardians. That's probably when he got involved. Once they changed the name, now he's riding with them. So we shall see. I knew you'd like that here on a Friday.
So God is woke as well.
Fry, the walk-off homer.
From the racist name to the Guardians name.
And by the way, I told you this the other day. I think there was some clips circulating on social media. John Sterling keeps calling them the Indians. And at one point in the game yesterday, he's just like, well, what do you want me to do? I've been calling them that for 80 years. Give me a break. He got all mad in the middle of the broadcast that he keeps forgetting that they're not called the Indians anymore. Fry's walk-off homer 20 years to the day of the David Ortiz walk-off homer at Fenway that started the 3-0 comeback.
Give me today. Anything else you want to squeeze
Now,
in?
that was a bad omen, I'll admit. Seeing that it was the same day as that awful Ortiz homer, which I remember, we all remember so well late in the night, as the Yankees tried for the sweep. Well, that one is your fault. You sent me that one. I didn't know about the Ortiz one.
I don't know what
so
you're
that
talking about. I mean, this is just
Here's,
one thing after the next.
Let's get a couple from Aaron Boone before we give you the numbers for tonight. Here's Boone. What do you want me to do? They had a couple big home runs.
Yeah, I mean, look, amazing game to witness. I mean, that was playoff baseball. both sides just kept coming with haymakers and big at bats, big moments off of two really good bullpens, and they outlasted us tonight. They had one more good swing than us, so it's part of it. Like I said, we'll be ready to roll tomorrow.
I hope so.
I just don't believe him.
You don't believe him. You don't believe they'll be ready to roll today.
No, I do not. Yeah. I think they are now stuck in the mud in Cleveland. And after that, I think it only gets worse from here. They're going to have a nightmare trip to Cleveland. And they're going to have to come back to the Bronx and get busy. That's what's going to happen. They're going to have to get this done in New York. And I'll bet my life that in at least game 6, let's say hypothetically, they'll be down in the game, and they'll have all the pressure in the world on them. And I'm not sure if they'll fire Boone if they lose the series, because the bottom line is this Hal Steinbrenner guy, he prints money, and their payroll was lower than several of those teams, Phillies, Mets, Dodgers, all higher, and they made the ALCS again. This is the, second time in 3 years. How many times has Boone been to this thing? Multiple times. So the way he sees it, I think, and the way Cashman sees it, is that they are successful. They go to the playoffs. They go to the ALCS. At worst, they go to the division series. And they, 1 year they didn't make the playoffs. I think in his managerial run in New York, it's just been once, right? That he didn't make it. They make the playoffs every year.
Yes. Last year he didn't make the playoffs. This is his third ALCS. So
that's why he doesn't fire him.
Right. Yeah. Look, he lost the Altuve buzzer game down there in Houston a few years back, and then he's got
buzzer in the jersey
the
game.
Buzzer game. That's what it's called.
Trash
It's the buzzer
games.
game. He had the buzzer in the jersey. The trash can was the Girardi year. The buzzer was the next time they played Houston I think that was Boone's first year, was the buzzer year when he hit that off of Chapman. And then he lost that sweep. What was that, 2 years ago when they got embarrassed? They got swept by Houston in the ALCS. So this is his third.
I got to be honest with you. I wish, and I'm going to say it, I wish Chapman was still on the Yankees, because he still throws 103 miles an hour when he wants to. And he was throwing gas in Pittsburgh this year. When he pitched, he threw gas, and no one could hit him. And they got rid of him, and they got this skinny twig out there serving up meatballs like last night. That was such a meatball. And look, he's been great. He's been great. Now we'll find out what he's made of after he got rocked. And Holmes has already learned the hard way what it's like trying to be a reliever in the Bronx. He went to Cleveland. He threw like 5 pitches, and they were golfing him out.
I think it was just too much. I think he's been excellent, but overworked. I don't think that it was necessary. Some of these multiple saves
that they're Canely in the game. He was doing fine.
I maybe would have tried to get through the 8th with Canely. I think I would have tried to get through with him. But even, me, I'm mad about game 2. There was no reason to pitch him in game 2. He should have had some extra rest, because now I don't know about pitching him tonight.
You're right.
Like after last night,
so I get what you're saying. You're right.
I know.
They won. And then in this game, they went to him and he served it up. And I couldn't believe my eyes.
Served it up.
I couldn't even. I have never seen a team have those 2 big home runs and then give 2 more up with 2 outs. Like, are you kidding me? Wasn't both of them 2-out home runs?
Yes.
Oh, made me sick.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night, I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Did Boone think they had it in the bag?
Well, this was actually an interesting, funny sequence. Like, a reporter asked him if him or if the guys in the dugout thought it was in the bag after the Stanton homer and that they were going to be up 3-0. Boone didn't exactly love the line of questioning.
Maybe the bench also might have felt, we've got this in the bag, so to speak.
Come on. No. Got this in the bag. Stop it with that. That's, I mean, it's the playoffs, man. You did tying home runs and go ahead homers. That's what it looks like. Like, yeah, I mean, you never have anything in the bag in the playoffs. No, you never take anything for granted. So no, I mean, but you're going to celebrate big moments all the time like that.
Yeah, I mean,
did the guy think, like, because of how much they celebrated with the Stanton and Judge homers, that they thought it was in the bag?
Yes.
Because every team does that, where they were cutting the mustard a little bit, especially on the Stanton one.
Did you think they had it in the bag? I did.
Let's be like real. 80%. There was 80%. There was a part of me that
when they
said
got
there's
the
still
fifth run,
6 outs to
I
get.
went, oh my God, they got an insurance run. It's in the bag. Luke Weaver's pitching. I thought it was over.
I don't have that kind of confidence level in Luke Weaver yet, as good as he's been. I am not.
You're really something. You need to go on your golf trip. I'm starting to
I'm
not
sorry.
like you,
I'm just not. I'm not. I don't have that kind of confidence
the tequila
in
in my
yet.
pills. I can't even listen to this guy. Honestly.
Can't get to the Cape Cod Irish Open
or something.
Cape Cod Irish Open.
I'd rather
next
talk
week.
about the Dodgers at this point.
Gavin Williams and Louis Heel. Yankees minus 120 tonight. 7.5 is the total. This is the second game, of course, coming up later this evening. Yankees win. There you go.
Yeah, I have no comment. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done. I've already seen enough Black Cloud Diner for one 24-hour cycle. I can't even get to this game with, betting it or picking it or going on record. I think they lose again, to be honest. I think they lose again. I think that was like a kick in the onions. I mean, it was just, that's like walking in on your wife with your best friend in her bed. Oh, that's what that was last night. It was a disaster. I texted you. How many times did I text you? Cussing and disaster.
You did. You stopped. Yeah. Once the second homer happened, I didn't hear from
It
you.
all ended.
You were done after
There were no
that.
more
That was
texts.
it after that. No more texts after that, which was understandable. I got it. The Dodgers did beat the Mets 10-2 last night. They lead the series 3-1. They get started in about an hour and 15 minutes for game number 5. Last night, it started fairly quickly for the Dodgers with going up against Jose Quintana, as in Shohei Ohtani right out of the gates on FS1.
He will use a lot of curveballs. There's a shot, right center field, and Ohtani lights the fire. A leadoff home run. Dodgers 1, Mets nothing in Game 4.
I love how they have the Dodger play-by-play guy calling the games, too.
Well,
I got Brian Anderson, but we got Joe Davis doing Dodger games just like it was August.
Get used to it because he's going to be doing the World Series also, especially if the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Who do you think's better at calling a game, more exciting, Brian Anderson or Joe Davis?
Brian Anderson.
Without a doubt.
Without
you're
question.
You're telling me that he's doing all 7 games, this guy Joe Davis?
Fox has the World Series, yes. Joe Davis will do all the World Series games. He is, they love him. I don't see the fascination, but they love him. They think he's the tops. So get ready. You're going to get a lot of him in the next couple of weeks. That's why we usually steer towards, we like the local radio call, right? Like we usually like that
Vince
here on
Scully.
Coast to Coast. We would love to have Vince back, yes. Still doing the Dodger games would be outstanding. Here's Carlos Mendoza. If this Met magic carpet ride is running out of gas, they're down to their last game.
Carpet's on fire.
You've talked this week about all the innings you've gotten out of your starters this season. Do you sense that they're maybe hitting a little bit of a wall here?
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Sean said it the other day. We asked a lot of these guys, and we're facing a good team, man. You got to give those guys credit. That's a deep lineup. That's a good lineup, and whether those guys are feeling it or not, we haven't executed. So, and we haven't got length from them. So.
No.
How about they are doing nothing? They can't get anybody out, and they can't get any hits. That's called losing.
The weird part is that they, again last night, they had like multiple innings with the bases loaded, 2 on, bases loaded, like bases loaded, no outs. They had 1 inning. And they just can't get it done in any of those spots in the last few days. It's absolutely amazing. Here's Pete Alonso, though. He still believes. He's still going to believe.
I believe in this group. This group has responded so well to adversity all year. I mean, the character of this team, the one word I can think of the 2024 Mets other than grimace is resiliency. That's just who we are. We have fun, we enjoy the moment, but at the end of the day, we're a resilient bunch and we respond in a very positive way, and we play for each other. So I have no doubt that we'll respond well and accept the challenge.
They got smoked at home 2 games in a row, just absolutely smoked like a Partagas cigar. Honestly, green label. They're finished. There's no way they're winning 3 games in a row. There is no way. I can't even see them winning today.
I don't think there's any shot they're winning 3 in a row. I think it's the old 1 day at a time routine for them right now. Do they want to get that long?
Edmonton Oilers down 3-0.
Another long. Hey, they want to get that. Do you want that long flight back to Los Angeles and take another one? But they want to go back and forth. Dodgers are going there anyway, so they'll be all right.
Yeah, but they'll be flying out there and flying.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
That kid on the two-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallized Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The other night, it's me, Gino Malkin, had his 500th career goal for the Penguins. And now it's time for It's Me, Gino B. Gino Bacola from Daily Racing Form joins us every Friday, pain-free style from L.A., and we get into the ponies. First things first, though, tell them where they can get a deal for SportsGrid viewers.
Yeah, so you want to head on over to drf.com/sportsgrid, and the promo code you want to use, SGTF24. You'll get a free card, and we'll look at some of the profile cards in just a moment. And we're all really pumped, Scotty, right now in the world of horse racing, because we're only 2 weeks away from the Breeders' Cup. 2 Fridays from today, Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday, the 2 biggest days of racing down at Del Mar. So we've got our Breeders' Cup packages. If you want to purchase right now, you can save a ton of money if you purchase early and you want to start your handicapping. The early entries come out on October 23rd. So that's Wednesday coming up.
Wow. And then, so it's the 25th is Friday. It's a week. So it's, is it like
first and second? Yeah, November 1st and 2nd, Friday and Saturday. Friday is the Future Stars Friday, so that's when we have all the 2-year-olds. So we'll see horses that might be running in the Kentucky Derby next year, and then on Saturday you get all the bulk of the big Breeders' Cup races. So 5 of them on Friday, then 9 of them on Saturday. An incredible 2 days. I'll be out there doing a lot of work for DRF, so make sure to follow us on our social media channels. We'll give you a live look at all the horses before and after the races there, and we'll have a ton to talk about that with you next week and in the next 2 times we speak. So let's make you some money for this week. That's always what's important. We got to pad the bankroll for everybody out there. Let's head to Keeneland. 2 plays over there. First, one of the easiest things in the world, taking candy from a baby. That's what we're going to be doing right here with the number 12 drawn to the outside. There's not a lot of speed in here. I think the 8 goes straight to the front, and the 12 sits second and is able to take over at the top of the lane. So taking candy probably gets bet down a little bit. That's a horse that you can build your exotics around. One of the 2. Yep, that's one of our 2 at Keeneland. We've got one more there. Race number 10. Horse had a brutal trip in the debut. This is a French bred. Number 8, High Breeze, 12-1 on the morning line. Just a trouble trip, expecting better stretching out. So we'll go from Keeneland over to Belmont at the Big A. We've got one over there for you, Scotty. This one I feel really confident about. 3 Priests. This is race number 10. This is a Japanese runner who came over to the U.S. and was very, very good in the first U.S. start. And a lot of times these horses run their best races their second time off the bench where they can shake a little bit of the rust off. They can get acclimated to the way the American racing style is. So I like the 5 in there at around 7-2. That's our lone play on the East Coast. Got to go coast to coast, though, because that's what we're doing here on Ferrall, coast to coast. Let's go East Coast to the West Coast. The number 1, Mi Hermano Ramon. This is at Santa Anita in race number 8. And this is a horse who had a 14-month layoff, and he came off of the bench the last time he ran. And that was a race where he ran exactly like we would expect. He just looked like he was a little tired late, probably needed the race to build up some fitness. Now that he has that race and a few more works in the morning, he's going to be a lot tighter. I think Ramon is going to run a really nice race, saving all the ground inside.
And you get him at 8-1?
8-1 on the morning line. So we got a couple bigger prices and then a few that you may be able to build around in like the 3-1-ish range.
All right, let's go to your NFL snag for this week.
Yep, we're going to go to a prop for you. Last couple of weeks, we've been struggling a little with our straight-up play, so let's go and play against the Washington Commanders defense. The Washington's a good team, but offensively, they're incredible, but they're not very good defending the run. They're playing the Panthers. If you look at Chuba Hubbard, what he's been doing recently, he's been over 90 yards in 4 consecutive games. You look at the matchup there, Carolina actually has the top 10 graded offensive line, and Washington has one of the worst graded defensive lines. So I think that's a matchup that they can lean on. And also with Brooks getting back in the mix, you feel like Hubbard's going to try to make some noise in these next couple weeks to just let them know that he either wants to still get some touches or maybe get traded somewhere else and he can go play for a contender.
Do the Dodgers and Flaherty finish off the Mets this afternoon at Citi Field with another win?
I think so, man. The at-bats they've been having are just fantastic. And then they're getting it from the starting pitching now, which they weren't getting in the first series. Flaherty, Yamamoto. We've been seeing great outings from them and Buehler also the other day. So when they're getting those kind of efforts, and you know that they've got 4 legitimate closers that they can throw at you, I think it's lights out tonight. Fingers crossed. Let's put them away, and then we'll see who's going to be facing the Dodgers in the World Series. I always love chatting with you.
Who do you like, Yankees or Guardians today in this Game 4?
I think the Guardians got the momentum after what happened last night. That felt like such a back-breaking couple of bats. They do it off the Indian star pitcher, and then the Guardians come all the way back. It's Christmas time. Noel.
Screw you, Gino.
He already has more than 1,000 yards. The last 3 running backs to win the Heisman, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram, Reggie Bush, did not have more than 650 in their opening 5 games of the year. Ashton Genty on pace to strike the pose in December.
Statistics matter. Blow every record out of the water, and he will be a Heisman. Disgraceful performance by the head coach, not Gene.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
I do sliding DiVincenzo to the what? Obviously, Terrence Jennings Jr., that is actually dynamic offensively and defensively. So we'll see how it works. I think it's a little bit of a work in progress. Do both teams win? Yes. I don't think at the end of the day, Minnesota could have afforded to keep Cat, Rudy, and Ant with that amount of money.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I do think they come back, and I think they win this game, but they've got to do it decisively. I think they've got to get that confidence back because they went out there, and like I said earlier, Kentucky almost beat Georgia. Kentucky almost did beat Ole Miss, and I think what you're going to see in this conference, if you don't play well and you're a top 10 team in the SEC, you're going to get knocked out by one of those top 25 teams in the SEC if you're not ready to play.
Powered by SportsGrid.